Hey guys, AJ here, back with another one. So the other day, we looked at the quote unquote retirement gap, and now we're going to talk about the happiness gap because with women, there's always some type of gap. And we all know that it's just them not taking accountability for their current situation. So this video, it's a little report, and they're talking about why women are less happy, and believe it or not, their guest that they have, she kind of goes on some spiritual woo-woo foolishness, but she actually makes some really good points. I was really shocked to actually see a woman on one of these daytime shows actually making sense. So let's just jump into this and see what happens.
For years, researchers and therapists have puzzled over a phenomenon known as the female happiness paradox, which concludes that women are, for the most part, unhappier than men.
Brooke Belden specializes in helping women find their happy.
She looked totally lost there. She's like, where? Ooh, what?
She joins us now to discuss. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
This doesn't surprise me. I mean, really, men are going off, they're doing the work, they're coming home, and that's pretty stereotypical, but a lot of the pressures are off of them.
Oh,
And whose fault is that? It's women's fault. It's feminists' fault. It used to be men went to work and they had to carry the whole load. They had to, take care of the wife and the kids, come home, work longer hours, take out the trash, fix the gutters, change the tires, fix the roof, mow the lawn, do all the stuff men do. But now men are walking away from marriage and relationships, and you have a lot of guys who just live by themselves. To get up, go to work, go to the gym, hang out with friends, and they're perfectly happy doing that. So that less responsibility, in a way, makes most people happy. And since that was called patriarchy, that men actually have to be responsible, men are less responsible and a lot of times are more happy. So
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then the women have to do everything. So, I mean, we're getting in this rut where we're trying to do it all. Is that
and you asked for that. That's what you wanted.
we're failing on ourselves for finding our happiness?
Well, and I think so much of it, too, is that we have done it all in the way that men have done it, right? In order for us to have a place in the workforce, we had to show up in the way that men showed up.
Exactly. And that was the message that these feminists push, is that everything masculine is better than anything feminine. So we're going to dress like dudes and talk like dudes and try and outdo guys at being guys. What happens is they aren't built for it. Guys will work, 18-hour work days and be totally fine. Guys will work in the heat and the cold and stuff and be perfectly fine. But most women, they don't want to do that. And if they do, they don't last long.
Right? So we're still doing our role at home, raising kids and taking care of the home and checking off all of the boxes. But then we have to show up in the workplace in a way that doesn't necessarily serve our innate way of being.
Uh-oh, she said our innate way of being. Could it be that men and women are actually different? There's innate differences between men and women? Are you saying this in 2022? Yeah, this came out 2 months ago. This woman dares to say that in 2022? I can't believe it.
And so then when the two clash, we're stuck with this feeling of like, this isn't me.
Right.
And why am I so unhappy when I thought that this is what I wanted?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do you first?
See, sister girl can't take it. She's like, well, but I'm strong and independent. I just can't understand what you're saying.
First of all, you got to figure that part out because we all wanted to have that great job.
Yep.
We all wanted to have those kids. We all wanted to be like on top of our game.
And you notice that she didn't say have a husband either? Of course not. Get married and have a husband? No, I would be a single mom that's drinking wine and raising the future carjackers of the world. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
And we get all of those things. So
Most women don't. Most women don't have careers. They have jobs. The number one employer of women in the United States is retail. The number two is the federal government. And I'm not talking about like upper level. I'm talking like secretaries and office admins, HR.
So why does that not make us happy then?
Well, because I think that, like we were talking about, is that we're checking the boxes. It's the world has said, do these things and then you'll be happy, right? Get a good job.
In this case, by the world, she means society. Society told women that this is how it's supposed to be.
Go to school, have the babies, get married, get the house, do those things, and then you'll be happy. And so then when you do those things and you do it in the way that the world tells you to do it, you get to a spot where you're like, but this isn't me, right? This is what everybody else says to do, and they give you a small box.
Everybody else are those loudmouth feminist chicks, those loudmouth, super progressive, boyish haircut chicks.
They give you a small window that you have to kind of fit in to do it, but it's not me, right? Like, I actually like to dance outside these lines over here, or outside these lines over here, and that's my way.
So how do you help women get out of their own way and find that happiness and kind of ignore what the stereotypical picture is?
Yes.
Who created the stereotype? Other women. And the way that you do it is you deprogram them from this modern woman BS.
So it's twofold, really. Number one is that you have to figure out exactly who you are. Who are you? Who is that inner voice? And part of that is listening to that inner voice instead of listening to what the world has told you you are supposed to be. Who you're.
Yeah, so she basically said, don't listen to all these, city girls, turned up, I'm strong, and don't need no man chicks. Listen to that innate voice inside of you that says, I might want to get married and have kids and be a mother and a wife one day, like most women have.
You're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. And so much of it is about really deconditioning and unlearning all of the things that we learned about who we're supposed to be and figuring out who you really are and what you really want and what that looks like and feels like for you.
Exactly.
Now, you did this.
I did.
Okay, tell us your story. Share with us how you did this. I like a real life example.
Yeah, I got to that point, right, where it's like I got my master's degree, I was a therapist, I own my own business, I was married, I have 2 beautiful kids, we live in a nice home, and I found myself saying all the time, why am I so unhappy? What is it that's going on? And it was literally like Oprah, like the guru, right? Who was like, what makes me different, what set me aside was that I always listened to myself, and I was like, how do you do that, right? And so I set off to really figure that out. Asking myself over and over, who am I? What do I want?
What does she want? And not what do your female friends or your mom and your aunties and all those other single broads in your life want? What do you want? That's what women need to ask themselves. And most women want to get married and have kids. They're just socially conditioned from a young age that that's a horrible thing to say. And the only one benefiting is men, because men don't have to be the responsible people we used to be. And then there's this weird feminist thing where, oh yeah, we're going to show you men how empowered we are by just having a whole bunch of sex. Oh, you showed us all right.
And going with my personal intuition over what anybody else said or thought. And it was the first time that I stopped abandoning me and I chose me first. And the way that my life has aligned and realigned right now, it's magic. I mean, like I said, it really is one of those things where...
See, I disagree there. You should never be with a woman, guys, if you choose to be in a relationship that says that she chooses her first. Relationships, marriage, you're supposed to be selfless and not selfish.
I have the family, I have the career, I homeschool my kids, we still live in a beautiful home, still married to a great guy, and I feel so good about who I am, and that inner peace is everything.
But there has to be a point, because in some of our lives, like we have small children, we're just busy.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily, busy and being tired doesn't necessarily have to always equate to being unhappy, right? So do you have to help people sometimes just figure out what's eating at the back of their brain a little bit?
Well, what I encourage women to ask themselves is, am I physically tired or am I spiritually and emotionally exhausted?
Okay, there's a difference.
There's a big difference, right? So yes, when you have small kids and you're sleep deprived and you're running around and you're doing the things, you're tired. I'm still tired. My kids are getting older and I'm still physically tired, but I'm no longer... And
men aren't tired when we have to work 2 jobs or work 12-hour days in a coal mine. Yeah, we aren't tired.
Spiritually and emotionally exhausted because I'm not trying to keep up with what the world is telling me that I need to do in order to be fulfilled and successful. And so that exhaustion is gone. And that's really, I think, the big key difference.
The big key to it. So are you telling people that they need to go quit their jobs if they're unhappy? I mean,
She didn't even say that, you knucklehead.
how do they be?
No, you know, I think that oftentimes when you make the bigger leaps, oftentimes they're scarier and they can create more trauma, or they can create more emotional angst. But when you can start to make those smaller steps and ask yourself,
And believe it or not, it's crazy. This is how delusional that women are, that someone that's even spouting this word salad is making sense compared to the average woman. That's sad.
really, like, what is it that makes me happy right now? Or what is it that fulfills me? And maybe it's work, right? Maybe it's you start with work because that's the space that's really stressing you out the most. And you're like, what is it that I want for my life? And maybe you're not allowed to quit your job right now, and that's okay. But what is it that you can do to show up in the workplace that feels more authentic and aligned to you, so that you're not, just putting on this facade every day?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we could talk about this for
I know.
But it's a good starting point.
Yes.
They could talk about it over wine and be wine moms crying into their glasses. But anyways, you guys, all in all, feminism lied to women. It just did. And a lot of men, as we get older, we get happier. And the women, as they get older, they tend to get more miserable. If you take any 45, 50-year-old man, he is happier than a bug in a rug. Especially, you think about the whole midlife crisis things. You see this guy, he's 48, 50, bought himself a Vet or a Porsche or some old classic car he's restoring. He's drinking his PBRs. He's in his garage listening to Pink Floyd or whatever. He's happy. But then his wife, if they've managed to stay together, she's in the house miserable, just mad. So guys, just know that we always win in the end. Men always win in the end. Any type of gap that they say, a wage gap, a wealth gap, a retirement gap, a whatever, it just means that they're just jealous. They're jealous that men do what we need to do, and it works out in the end. All right, you guys. It's AJ. Thanks to all my new subscribers. Subscribe. You guys are the best, and I am out of here.